Welcome to Zimboprenuer. So today I'll be reacting to the video from Valuetainment. If you want to be inspired as an entrepreneur, I urge you to check Valuetainment.
You know, a lot of people are talking about AI. It's a concern. We got climate change. Oh my God, this is the end of the world. Nuclear war. But very few people are talking about actual shortage of food. According to The Economist, in the next 40 years, we will need to produce more food in the next 40 years than we have in the previous 10,000 years combined.
10,000 years. So in the next 5 years, we're going to consume more food than we have consumed in the last 10,000 years. Wow. When you think about it, that's a lot of food that we need.
One of the industries that a lot of people are talking about is called vertical farming. Matter of fact, a guy named Elon Musk, his brother Kimball, is now a farmer investing into vertical farming.
Vertical farming. You know, vertical farming is just grabbed my attention also because you use less land, you know, only just small space. The future of farming. Let's go.
You get value from this video at the end, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into it. You know what's crazy is I'm in Fort Lauderdale right now. We had a big flood, 22 inches of rain in Fort Lauderdale, record breaking. Everybody's talking about it. For a couple days, there is no gas in Miami. Everybody is calling saying, I can't fill up the tank. How am I gonna come up to Fort Lauderdale? I gotta drive up. People are panicking just because there was no gas for one day in Miami. Gas stations were all sold out, right? So you may be saying, Pat, what's your point there? What would you do if you didn't have food for one day? How about 2 days? 3 days. Think about that shortage. What happens when you're at a hotel or your place, the bathroom doesn't work, you can't use the bathroom, there's flooding? What do you think about? That stress goes from something you never think about all of a sudden to something massive, right? That's exactly what the concern is with food.
What Patrick has just described sums up Zimbabwe in the last 30 to 40 years.
Food shortage. I'll give you a stat here. Food production needs to increase by roughly 70% by 2050 to support the expected 10 billion world population.
You see, expect population of 10 billion. And trust me, the extra 3 to 4 billion, most of them, they are coming from Africa because some of the Western countries, their experience is population decline. And it is postulated that they'll continue to raise population decline. But then it's a reverse when it comes to Africa. Africa is growing and very young population.
And that's only 27 years from now. So now, let's look at a bunch of different data here and see if this is something we ought to be thinking about. The things we'll look at today is arable land, we'll look at topsoil, freshwater supply, we'll look at benefits of vertical farming, solutions, different types, how they do it, cost of it, what different companies are doing today, and then at the end I want to get your thoughts. If this is something we ought to be concerned about, and potentially how big of an industry this is going to be by 2030. Wait till you see the numbers. So let's get right into it. Arable land is land capable of being used to grow crops. So now arable land is down 30% since the 1970s. It is 60% from the current.
You know, it's quite funny when you look at it that we talked about population, right? They are experiencing population decline, but Africa is at an increase. They are also talking about arable land. They are having a decline in arable land because of too much infrastructure development. There's no more land. But when it comes to Africa, it's the reverse again. We still have more land out there because there's still room for infrastructure development. There's still room for farming because most of the land haven't been used. There's arable land in Africa, a lot of it, which is in contrast to United States.
So it's already down 30% since the 70s, and it's expected to drop another 60% between now and 2050, 27 years from now. Now, let's look at different regions worldwide, Australia, Canada, US. Look at this number here, this chart. Far left is Australia, dark blue is 1975.
Okay, so in this chart, there is no Africa. There's Australia, Canada, Russia, United States, Brazil, and India. There's really no Africa in his analysis. But anyway, like I say, Africa is opposite of this. While this arable land is dropping in these 6 countries, in Africa, it's the opposite.
blue is 85, that orange color is 95, and then the yellow one is 2005. Australia is down 20% of arable land because we're building more buildings. Canada is down 25%, Russia is down 17%, US is down 32%. The benefit of capitalism, we're building a lot of different places, but at the same time, the arable land is going to be cut as well, right? So you got Brazil down 16. Arable lands that...
Like I said, this video, I'm not necessarily concerned on what is happening in America or in the Western countries. My main focus is on Africa and the opportunities that we have in Africa. So as you can see that we have more arable land, and the other countries, they are having issues of arable land dropping, meaning that there is opportunity in Africa. There is opportunity for infrastructure development, right?
Different things. So why is this a concern if we have our arable lands that's decreasing at the pace that it is just in 40 years of this chart? Well, the next one is about topsoil. Topsoil is the primary resource for plants to grow and crops to thrive. Each year, an estimated 24 billion tons of fertile soil are lost due to erosion, which is 25% of the total land area has been degraded. So when you look at this without vegetation, these are some things that people are sitting there thinking, saying, we may not be worried about it today, but this could be a big issue for us within the next 27 years, and this leads to water, because we also need water. Fresh water supply. Agriculture currently uses roughly 70% of the global freshwater supply. Irrigation, in other words. Only 1 to 3% of water on Earth is fresh water. Pesticides and fertilizers and other toxic from chemicals can poison fresh water. So if you look at this here, where is the water on Earth? You'll see 97.2% is oceans. You got a small percentage there, 2.15% is glaciers, and a 0.65% that is groundwater, lakes and rivers, soil moisture, and atmosphere. So
also, when you look at this diagram of water, only 0.65. My God. Whoa. There's little fresh water. Like seriously, there's little fresh water. Water might be a problem in the nearby future. Seriously.
So we also need this. So far we got what? Arable land, we got topsoil, we got freshwater supply. All of these things are leading to a concern of what we're going to do if we have all.
So 3 things that we have already in Africa: arable land, topsoil, and fresh water. So what's stopping us? What's stopping us from being major players within this sector, within the agricultural sector?
All of these things are leading to a concern of what we're going to do if we have a shortage of food over the next 27 years. So now, farming problems, let's look at these. So for those of us that fractures the soil.
So as entrepreneurs, to combat these problems, arable land, water, and topsoil, scientists have turned towards vertical farming to combat this problem. That's an innovation that entrepreneurs are trying to come up with.
Vertical farming, if you look at it, came about in 1999 when this professor from Columbia University, Dixon Zimboprenuer, he's a professor of environmental health sciences, and 105 graduate students were exploring methods to address this problem and came up with the concept of vertical farming. A multi-story building grown layers of crops on each floor. Pretty common sense for us to be like, if you and I were thinking about this, you're like, we probably should have known this 100 years ago.
Anyway, vertical farming, it's just innovative. Imagine like a top story, 5-story, 6 or 12-story building of vertical farming. A building like Burj Khalifa, imagine. And it's a farm going to the top. Human beings are just creative beings.
Of vertical farming. Here's what it is. No soil required, which alleviates the topsoil problem, requires 99% less water and fertilizer, can grow year-round, no pesticides, occupies 99% less space because you're simply going up, can be placed in cities, cutting the burden of long transportation. So you may say, Pat, who cares about transportation? Here's why. Currently, average distance of farm food transportation is 1,500 miles. 68% of people...
There's so much benefit. I gravitate towards the of transportation. Especially transportation, you see that transportation is a major cost, transporting the food. But now as a farmer, if you can just put your vertical farm in the city, close to where you distribute your products. It's quite innovative and it cuts a lot of costs. It increases your profits.
Because it's a great idea, it's exciting, but it's expensive. This is what they haven't yet figured out. So high capital requirement to start, facilities require a lot of energy, growing grains like corn and wheat have...
Here are the problems with this vertical farming. Serious problems, especially of high energy. You know, the funny thing about these new technologies, they are quite innovative and they solve a lot of problems, but when it comes to high energy, it's a problem. Think about blockchain, the Bitcoin. The blockchain technology is completely revolutionary and it changes everything about how we interact as human beings and how we do our things. And especially the Bitcoin, it's in that revolutionary in the sense that it even challenges the monetary system, because now everything becomes decentralized. Right?
In
place for
Bitcoin?
life.
Do you invest in Bitcoin?
I've got some Bitcoin.
Okay.
It's a good place for.
But again, Bitcoin uses a lot of energy. It's innovative, but it uses a lot of energy. You look at this vertical farming, same thing is happening. It's using a lot of energy. It's quite a problem. But anyway, I believe entrepreneurship is the only way that we can solve our own problems as humans, because with entrepreneurship there's an incentive to make money, there's incentive to help, because you're solving real life situations, real life problems profitably, of course, but that profitability is something that pushes you to achieve, to make a difference, that pushes you to solve that problem. So I believe that this energy problem is going to be something that we're going to crack in the next 10 years to come. In Africa, do we need this? Do we have these problems? We have the land, we have the fresh water, we have the topsoil. So, as much as we are pushing this technology, Africa needs also to wake up and realize that the only way that we can help ourselves as Africa is through agriculture, through mining, and through manufacturing. All these other things, we just need to stop and concentrate on these three and put all our efforts towards these things, because that's just the way to go.